words about our businesses, ostensibly for the newsletter, and the purpose of today was for me to critique that work and tell you how it could be done better. The important thing about all advertising is to consider not what it is that you are selling, but what it is that someone might need out of what you're selling. For example, when we get up in our infomercials, it's quite rare that people actually say, well look, a good lead for me looks and feels and sounds like X. So when you're writing this small number of words about your business, you really want to look at what it is that you're offering the person to take up. Can anyone tell me the difference between those two words? What do they actually mean? What's a feature and what is a benefit? I'm referring to a product or service. What is a feature and what is a benefit? Yes, Max, go ahead. You don't have to stick your hand up.
A feature is all those extra bits and pieces that you don't necessarily need, whereas a benefit is something that you can actually derive a benefit immediately.
Okay, so it's a want versus a need. That's terrific. Let's be truthful. When we go shopping for a house, do we need 3 bedrooms when Heidi and I have no children? How many university students can we possibly have at one time? The answer is, of course we do not need 3 bedrooms, but we sure as heck want them. Of course we don't need a 1 acre block with scrub. I beg your pardon, we don't need it, but we very, very much want it. Let me give you an example of what I mean by a feature and a benefit. If I were to talk to a woman or a man and I was selling a car and it occurred to me that this guy or girl didn't know much about the mechanics of a car, I could say that a feature of this car is that it's got a 5-speed gearbox. Is that good? Is it better than 4? Is it better than 6? Why do I need to know that? That 5-speed gearbox is an undeniable, certifiable, 100% provable fact. So a feature is any characteristic of your product or service or business that can't possibly be argued with. But it may not be a reason to buy or own what it is that you are selling. So don't just mention a feature without a benefit. Now, can anyone tell me what is the benefit of a 5-speed gearbox, especially a gearbox where the 5th gear is not in close ratio to the others and it is a genuine overdrive? What is the benefit in that?
I can go faster with more economy.
Right, more economy. That's what I'm looking for. So if you're selling a car with 5-speed gearbox, should you be saying, oh, this has got 5 speeds? No, you should be saying what it brings as a benefit to the owner. So you say, well, Giovanna or Ray, when you get to 80 kilometres an hour and you select 5th gear, this motor runs at lower revs, uses less petrol and saves you money. That is a reason to buy that car, possibly. Can you see how when we're selling something, and let's face it, we're all selling. I'm selling you the idea that I'm competent about this right now. So when we're selling these 80 or 100 words about our business in the newsletter, hard copy and electronically, let's just talk about features. For example, do you think it's a very cogent argument for me to turn up to Billy's wine shop today and say, please buy my Merlot, it's really good? Oh, fantastic! You're the only winemaker I've talked to today, Paul, who thinks he makes good wine. Ridiculous. But we must find a benefit of the fact that I make good wine. What is it? I'll give you a simple example. Knock, knock, knock on the door, never heard of Le Lachaux wines? That's a benefit. You get known for stocking something that's a little bit out of the ordinary. No, it's not Penfolds. You're not a Penfolds stockist. So, when we're writing 80 or 100 or 8,000, who cares? Words about our business, or speaking 80 or 100 or 10,000 words about our business, make sure that we always follow a feature with at least one, preferably three benefits. Can you see the logic in what I say? Particularly if you're not a technically oriented person, just a list of arbitrary features is no good reason to buy anything, is it? For example, I've dealt with Mark Minarelli on a couple of occasions, and some of the features of Mark's and Giovanna's business were not as interesting to me as the benefits. Let me make a simple statement. My name's Mark Minarelli and I'm in estate planning and writing of wills, etc. Well, that's a feature of my business, but the benefit is, Paul, do you realise that when you and Heidi come to me at Minarelli Legal, I can say your profoundly intellectually disabled niece needs a testamentary trust put up for her so that any carer doesn't have to access your money. Now, Mark, can you see the logic in that? Is that some reason to buy what you're selling, which is a relatively high-ticket item? Really, with the greatest of respect to you, it's not a very sexy proposition to say, oh, I do wills. That's fine. But when you were able to say, here is a benefit of coming to see me, the benefit is I can show you how to retain money on your death into your estate, distributed easily and undisputably. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
And unquestionably it goes to the right person via the testamentary trust. That is a benefit, definitely. So for goodness sake, when you're writing these words for your newsletter, and by the way, has anyone done it? Good work. I'll have a look at it in a minute, Ken, if I may. So that's the first thing, okay? If you don't know 2 or 3 benefits from each of the features of your business, you are in big trouble because you're asking someone to buy something and you don't know why they should. If you don't know why, how can you blame them for not knowing why they should buy? Okay? Extremely important. A call to action. What is a call to action, particularly in writing or in TV advertising? What actually is it? Often used phrase, does anyone know?
For all inquiries, please call.
Okay, a call to action is one single statement which clearly tells people the intent of this piece of work is to do something. Okay? For all clarifications, please see Ken Bruce or come to a meeting via Maxine on Wednesdays, say. Okay? Or my call to action might be, okay, my Merlot's just won another trophy, so what? Where can I buy the muck? The call to action is available at St Peter's Cellars and such. That's the call to action. Do not have something that generically represents you with no call to action, because that's exactly what they'll do. Nothing. They won't act. They'll read that and they'll say, gee, that was well written. And I'm sure the author loves their mother as well. But apart from that, so what? So you must be sure what it is, and for goodness sake, only make it one thing, not 4. It's very important that you don't say, come to see us at Business by Breakfast, or for further inquiries ring Ken Bruce, or for a hot cup of tea you can go and see, Michael Fox or whatever. Don't make it. Can you answer my own question for me? Why would I say don't have multiple calls to action?
Confuse people?
Absolutely. And do you know what people do when they don't know what to do?
Forget it.
Yeah, they do nothing. Because people are fearful of doing the wrong thing. Of course, a salesman would argue that the wrong thing is to do nothing. My point being, if your call to action is not absolutely crystal clear, and has only one alternative that they can do, then they will. If it's muddy, they just will not. And in fact, it's worse than having one strong call to action to have two or three, because then you're forcing even the keen people into deciding which one of the three is the best for them. So they're kind of debating which one of the three to do rather than just doing one simple, unambiguous thing. Remember last week I talked about the footer or the header of an article or a newsletter being at a glance? That ties in with this. When someone reads something that I write, they should be able to say, so what's the guts? What do I really need to know? What's the main point? If you don't know, then ask someone to read it and say, Ken, Paulie here, I'm going to email you a document. Could you please give me a ring back and tell me what you think should be the take-home message? If you can't take one message home, then I recommend you use that as toilet paper, that article. It's not worth anything. You must be sure. Now, do we know this acronym? What's that acronym? Yeah, what's in it for me? Do not sell or recommend your own products or services without empathy. Ask what it is that someone else might get out of it. Okay? A simple example of this. My old friend, Heidi's and my first date was his wedding. Frank Jacoviak, financial planner. When he asked me 13 years ago to join Executive Fitness Management Gym, he didn't say, come and do a gym, slug your guts out, sweat like a dog, and hopefully lose some weight. No, he used what was in it for me. What is it that Paul thinks alluring about going to a gym? Well, nothing, because he hasn't been to a gym and he's 40. So he said, tell me, Paul, do you like playing games? Well, what a stupid rhetorical question to ask me. Anything with a bat and a ball, I'm there. So I said, of course I do. He said, good. Come next Friday week and we're playing indoor soccer five-a-side. Fantastic. All of a sudden, it was not me joining a gym at $110 a month. I was having a little game with a few other boys and girls. Something I loved. And you guessed it, what was in it for me was to attend. That's 12 years ago. God knows how many thousands of dollars they've made out of me over those 12 years. Do you see my point? Try and take your blinkers off and try and insert yourself into the mind or the heart or the body or whatever of the target that you're writing to and ask yourself, what's in it for me? And if you can say what's in it for me with empathy, then put that in your call to action. So Frank, for example, when invited me to EFM, did not say, oh, come to a gym and sign up for a year and spend $100 a month or whatever. He just simply said, come to a game of soccer. You like that, don't you, Paul? Of course, I love it. Kicked 2 goals and the rest is history. You might add they probably let me kick the 2 goals, but so this, very important to have empathy. I'm going to leave a few minutes to talk with you, with your permission, about that. Okay, following on from this, what's in it for me, have you heard the saying that you should always try and give before you get? Yeah? We've all been to a networking session, haven't we? And people walk in and they say, hello, my name's Paul Lulasher, and Michael says hello, and we exchange business cards, and the music stops and we all go and pick a new partner. What a complete waste of time and money. What you should be doing is giving the Michael Foxes or any of you something before you have your hand out to get something back from them. Now we repeat these mantras and we chant them even though we never check whether they're true. Have a listen to this one. Oh, we're in an information-rich age, aren't we? We're overloaded with information. We're time poor. Bull dust. What we seek is news or information. Give someone a gift of news or information which has nothing to do with your business. E.g., if I'm trying to convince someone that I'm a good speaker on wine, is it really news to them that Le Lachaux's Merlot has just won a trophy? Well, it's news to me, but it's not interesting to you. So I would prefer to tell you something about some non-Le Lachaux wine that's interesting, hip, happening or trendy. For example, did you know that there's a big planting of new varieties in the Adelaide Hills and not one of them is Merlot? Unfortunately. They might be Albarino or Sagrantino or anything that's hard to pronounce. So even if it's a very small news or information gift, for goodness sake, give somebody something, because you will be conferred multi times more back on yourself and your business by having positioned yourself in that person's mind as the information owner. And that is important. Ray, you'd agree with that, wouldn't you, as an insurance broker? If you can get someone to believe that you've got this intellectual property about insurance, that's vital, isn't it? Really, that's absolutely vital. Maybe it's even more important than the premium. Maybe it's even more important than the cover. The feeling that Ray Dix knows what he's doing is very important. Now, I know you, unfortunately. Lots of people don't. If you don't know the Ray Dixes of the world, the way you confirm status and importance and knowledge and intellectual property on yourself is to give somebody something.
Case in point, door knocked a transport place at Bordertown.
Yep.
And he walked me around the place.
Right.
And it turns out he was storing nearly $1 million worth of Coonawarra wine in a shed.
Jeez.
And I said, what happens if you had a fire here? And he said, well, it doesn't belong to me. And I said, what happens if the fire's your fault?
Yeah.
And it turned out he didn't have any cover whatsoever.
Right.
He came to me and was paying a higher premium than he previously was.
Yeah. And the reason he did that, if you analyse it, was that Ray put the seed into this person's head that he had ownership over a minute bit of intellectual property that was unique outside this guy's experience, and he probably made a mental note to himself, get that fixed. And did he think get that fixed with a generic insurance? No, he thought get that fixed through Ray. That's the important thing. Back to you, Mark. Did I think, gee whiz, I must get a lawyer to fix that testamentary trust? No, I did not. I thought, he knows what he's talking about. I'll get him to do it, or we'll get him to do it. It's very, very important that you give someone a gift. Okay, well, very easy. So what? How do you go about giving someone a news or information gift? You tell me and then I'll have a shot at it. How can you invent a news or information gift? Don't know.
Provide a third-party story.
Okay, good. Third-party story is excellent. People love hearing other people than you say it. We say in sales, if I say I'm good, you won't believe it. If a third party says he's good, you believe I'm excellent, not just good. A third party story. But do you know who the best conveyors of information are? Best talkers or best listeners? Which? Always. Always. I did it once. Try it. It's very important not to give someone some brilliant news or brilliant information gift which is completely useless to them. So you must ask what news or what information is relevant to them. Classic example is I was trying to help someone the other day, and I said, do you drink wine? natural progression being, if you do, that's fantastic. Would you like some? And she said, no, I don't drink wine. And I was thinking, okay, I'm going to have to find another way of helping them. So while I was digesting this, she said, we don't, but our customers do. So I was back in there again, and I had some wine news or some wine information to give her and him as a gift.